Yo, yo, yo. It's Mark and Mark Zero. Pouring rain here right now. It's not gonna last too long. Just a little shower. Got this shower coming and another one coming right after. Looks like it's gonna rain for the next 20 minutes or so. Nothing too bad. Just some showers. Nothing bad. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with these people? Man. My neighbor's dogs are so fucking annoying. Super dumb. Hey Tanya, I'm doing good. My day was good. Busy from from early morning till now. Always had something to do, somewhere to go. Always something. 9 o'clock this morning, I had to take my nephew to his school teaches kids how to ride a motorcycle before they go 16. So I have every Saturday he has to go. Not every Saturday, but I think it's like every other Saturday he has to go there for 2 hours to learn how to like ride a bike. So so I had to take him there this morning, pick him up. Then we had all three of us had a nice lunch together, and then me and him grabbed dinner together too. Me and my youngest nephew. So I hung out with them pretty much all day and did stuff with them, take them to their events and stuff where they have to go. Play taxi driver. Yeah. But I got a free lunch and a free dinner out of it on Saturdays they treat me. So it was nice. What's up, Dan? How you been? You got a burrito from the naked lady. Oh, good lord. Yeah, they always hook me up. You know, we all help each other. We all pay for each other's stuff and things like that. So they're good. They're good kids. Okay, cool. I haven't had a burrito in a while. I used to make my own pocket burritos. There's little pocket. It comes like a pocket. It looks like a pocket when it's a burrito. You just stuff it. I should get those and make that sometime this week. We used to put chicken in there and pieces of bacon and all sorts of shit. I should ask my nephews if they want to eat that next week. Something different. She didn't have any clothes on. Shit. I gotta go to that place then. Give me a little thrill and then get some to eat. Okay, cool, Dan. Probably next month I have three big ass clay pots that we put next to the pool. And I told my sister she wanted to put some fake plants in there, and I'm like, look, I don't want no fake ass shit around here. I said, what I'll do is I'll go get a bag of potting soil and I'll mix it in with some nice soil that I have around the back there. And I said, I want to put some nice flowers in there. I said, but we have to wait till next month when the weather gets a little better. Right now it's windy and rainy right now. But next month, like the weather's probably gonna get a little better. So once it gets better, like in the 70s, and then I told my sister, I said, I'll clean out, power wash those pots and then put some nice flowers in there. Then I'll go get some flowers for my mom and dad's house too. They're handmade and wrapped with plastic. She throws them in the microwave and you eat it about 5 minutes later and it's delicious. So nice. That sounds good. I like burritos, but like these guys, they don't really care for it too much. But I would eat burritos. Last night I ate pizza and then from one place down the hill here I had it. The pizza was okay. It's not my favorite. But I ate pizza and my nephew he ate yes, last night I ate pizza and my nephew ate a club sandwich. And today he wanted pizza. And then when I called the pizza place and I ordered the pizza and I said, do you guys have any wings? And they're like, oh no, we're all out of wings because we close in an hour. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then I told my nephew, look, I all I want is like a slice of pizza and I'm good to go. So we ordered a pizza and we went pick it up and then he ate majority of it and I just had a slice. Then I had like a donut for dessert. So I was good. I didn't really want to eat pizza again, but it was a better pizza than what I ate yesterday. But yeah, at least it was free, you know, and a free donut too. I didn't have to pay for anything today. I made my own breakfast. I had a fried egg, sausage, and cheese sandwich on a lemon bread roll. It's like a Portuguese lemon bread roll that we have here. It's like a flat, like roll type of thing. That's what I had this morning. Lunch, I had fish nuggets, peas and rice, and mac and cheese. And then for dinner, I had a slice of pizza and a donut. So I'm good to go. And then tomorrow for lunch, I'm going to my mom's. She's making pork tenderloin. So I'll go over there and eat that tomorrow. Then I have to talk to my sister and see what we're going to do for dinner tomorrow. We'll see. My mom, I remember like being younger, and my mom always used to say the hardest part of every day is to figure out what the hell we're gonna eat. Oh yeah, my mom, she makes the best pork tenderloin ever. I would eat pork tenderloin more often, but my sister and my nephews don't really like it like that. But my mom, she makes the best. Phil made great pork tenderloin, yeah. Then Dan had me make pork tenderloin in the crock pot. Then I couldn't find the stupid soup. You know how I make my mom? She takes like two pieces of tenderloin, like about a foot long. Like they come in two, like they come separate or come like two in a pack. What she does, she cuts it up like about maybe a quarter inch, like that. She cuts like strips. She cuts the whole thing. And then what she does, she beats it with one of those metal spiky hammer things. I don't know how they're called, right? I think it's a meat beater or whatever. So she beats it with that, right? She puts like a piece of uh like cling wrap. She puts it over the meat so that like it doesn't like fuck up the thing or whatever. I don't know why she does that, but anyway, she beats the pork tenderloin right with that little meat thingy. It has the spikes on it, and then she puts like white wine, garlic, Worcester sauce, paprika, and it's chopped up garlic too, like fresh garlic. And I think that's about it. I think that's how she does it. Anyway, and so she marinates it overnight, and then in the morning she pan fries all of them, and then lunchtime like she'll just simmer it afterwards and put all the like the sauce all over it. It tastes so good. It's never been like bad. She's so good at making that, but it's a lot of work. Like she's gotta like hook up all the meat, all the pork first, and then do all this shit. But doing it in a crock pot is really nice too. It's really you. We used to do the pulled pork sandwiches with the pork tenderloin in the crock pot. Yeah, and too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the when we used to do because we went through a pulled pork stage where these guys really like the pulled pork sandwiches, and now we haven't talked about it ever since or made it ever since because when these guys eat something like when my sister and her boys eat something too many times or like they'll get fed up of it, but or they'll just like not want it anymore. And I'm like, whatever, man, you guys are idiots. So yeah, I wish I can eat all that stuff. Like, the thing is, my mom always says if everybody liked the same thing, then preparing dinner every day would be so much easier. But one person likes this, one person likes that, the other person don't want this. Ooh, that's gross. That I don't want that. So my mom used to always make like two or three different dinners, and that's like my youngest nephew. He doesn't like the things that we like that much, and he'll eat pizza and chicken tenders and fries for the rest of his life. But the other day he ate fish cakes for the first time and he says he really liked them. But he had to try them, see. And my mom made like really good fish cakes on Good Friday. They were really good. I kind of enjoyed them. I'm not really a fish cake person. I rather have fish nuggets or like fried fish or baked fish. Anything to do with fish, I'll eat it in certain ways. But yeah, he actually liked the fish cakes. So now all of us like fish cakes. So when we have fish cakes again, he'll eat them. You know what, Dan? You know what I wanna plant in my yard over here is an avocado tree. I know it's gonna take a long time before it actually produces avocados, but I don't know. I haven't really done my research on it, but I would love to have an avocado tree around here. My mom has a nice guayava tree in her yard, and every year it produces like tons of guayavas. But the bastard birds get to them all the time, and they eat them. But I would love to have an avocado tree though. That'd be nice. Like the avocados here in Bermuda, they grow huge. They're like big, and the avocados here are the best ones I've ever tasted. Yeah, I remember my friend. He had a big ass avocado tree. It was huge, and he the avocados were like big, where the seed itself was like a fucking tennis ball. The seed was the size of a tennis ball, no joke. And the avocados were huge. And one time it was full of avocados and they were just about ripe. And then a hurricane came and blew all the avocados off the tree. And when the hurricane was over, it was like about 50 to 60 avocados all over the ground. And he gave me like five of them. And then he gave some to other people and whatever. And I was like, these are the best avocados I've ever had. That was about like 10 years ago. Like the hurricane really messed up the tree, but it's still there though. It's still producing. And here in Bermuda, we have a lot of loquat trees. The loquat trees here are ridiculous. They produce like maybe twice to three times a year, where it's insane. I've never seen anything like it this year. Last year, I saw avocado trees produce. I mean, avocado loquat trees produce at least two or three times. Where I was like, "What the hell, man? Loquats again?" And like it's weird because those loquat trees, they're everywhere. They're all over Bermuda. They grow wild. Right down the hill from me, there's a part that's right before the church. There's like a huge loquat tree, and I can't believe how big it is. Like it's humongous, and it's got like when it actually produces the loquats, like it's just all yellow, and it looks like it looks like a Christmas tree of yellow lights on it. Hey Marley, you got one eye open? Hey, at least you got one eye open. Shit. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what you got. I don't know if you guys have loquat trees where you guys are, but here in Bermuda, there's a million of them. They're everywhere. You can be driving along the road and you just see them like everywhere, full of loquats. And people here make loquat jam, and like it tastes really good. My mom used to make loquat jam. Yeah, she was singing and carrying on in there. Her and Emmy, she was having fun. If a certain somebody was watching it tonight, they must have been really pissed. Shit, seeing you all happy and singing and all that. So Marley, did you like the Hoga video? And that shit was fucking hilarious. Hey, well, let him keep watching. Who cares? He must be lonely. He must be mad. He probably comes in here and watches this too. Hey, buddy, how you doing? He be like, yeah, I'm going to Mark's live. He be like, who the fuck's Mark? Let me go see this mofo. That's all right. You can't really stop people from looking at it, you know. I'm sure he probably won't have his original name, but yeah, I'll look out for him. People are so tricky; they'll be everywhere. Oh, he does? Okay. If he has his original name, then if he comes in there, I'll see him. I've never seen him in your room. Never. I've never seen him in there. At least I haven't noticed him, I guess. The only person that I know that comes in there was um I think it was your ex husband's like daughter or something. And you said she was like the same age as you or something. You guys got along. She comes in the chat. I can't remember her name, but that's the only person I remember that's close to you. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, that's her. She came in there that time. Well, she's been in there like 2 or 3 times since I've been in there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, there you go. She don't even talk to him. All right, Dan. Oh, there you go. If she don't even talk to him, then there you go. Yeah, you saw when that person asked about the pregnant question. I was like, here we go. It's the famous question. And I was like, hint, hint. And then right after that, I said, I'm not the father. If he was in there, he must have been like, these guys are cracking jokes. Mark said he ain't the father, so that means she is. Oh my god. I was like, this guy, if he's in there now, he must be like, these motherfuckers are talking shit. Yeah, I'm sure. I know my ex comes in here too. She admitted it to me one time that she was in here watching me and shit. I was like, yeah, you can watch me all you want. You can watch something you'll never have in your life. Yeah, I try not to let him do. I know it's like it's annoying, but well, he can say whatever he wants, just don't let him get to you too much. Sometimes like ignoring ignorance is the best thing. I know it's hard not to though. Sometimes like you feel like you gotta say something. You be like, let me tell you fucking something. If I was you, I'd ban his ass. Well, remember, like that's what I just said just now. Like if he was in there tonight, he probably would have been pissed. He probably was pissed to hear you both in there singing and carrying on and having a good time. But it's also good for him to see because it's like his karma. I always tell people like people's happiness is other people's karma. Because the people who don't want to see you happy, that's why they say dumb shit. Yeah. Yeah, we always have a good time. in each other's chats and things like that. It's good to be that way. It's good to have fun and not to like, bring negativity or dwell on any negative shit. That's why I don't really like certain people because they like bring negative shit to the chats, and then you're like, oh god, now we're gonna listen to this shit again. Some people I just ignore. I'm like, I ain't listening to you. Well, you know what? When people say they had a bad childhood or they had a bad this and a bad that, you know what? So does everybody else in the world. Everybody has something bad happen to them. Nobody has a perfect fucking life. Like, so when people like complain about their childhoods or their jobs or their marriages or, something that happens in their life, like, I just say, you know what? Stop bitching and mooning and complaining and be thankful that you're alive and you have what you need and what you want. Like, what the fuck you got to dwell on your past and what happened back then or whatever. Like, yes, okay, we get it. You can talk about it, but don't keep dwelling on that shit and looking for, sympathy or trying to play victim and use that to get what you need in life. Like, it's time to grow the fuck up, and just realize that these things are happening, right? Everything, we all go through bad times, but if you keep dwelling on it, then you're gonna stay in that bad time. Your whole mind is gonna be keep focusing on negative shit all the time. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the thing is like you have to take the stand. You have to make your life better. Nobody can make your life better, really. Some people can contribute to your happiness, yes, but you still have to do the work. You still have to take the initiative. You have to make your life better. Ain't nobody gonna make your life better but you. You know. I always say you have to take accountability. You have to take accountability for your actions because even though, like, if you marry somebody, right? And before you get married, you know that person is a risk to marry. But you think in your mind that, oh yeah, I can change this person, right? Or I'll make sure I change for this person because I love them. Let me tell you something. If you love somebody, you don't have to change for nobody. And that person should be changing for you either. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a job. Like if you get a job and you know deep down inside, if your intuition is telling you or you're getting a red flag and you still take on that burden or that risk, then remember, you took the risk on at the time. You knew deep down inside it probably wasn't gonna work, but you tried. And if you failed, okay, that's all right. You could talk about it, yes, but move on from it. That's the only way you're gonna get better is if you move on and take accountability for your dumb fucking mistakes and just keep going. Like, yo, what's up, KP? You good? Yeah, exactly, Tanya. Yeah, but that's just it. Like, well, a lot of people are the opposite. They want to fuck today and then live with you tomorrow and then get married next week and get divorced in a year. A lot of people don't understand what building a relationship is because they watch too many movies and they have too many online things, and people always say they're running out of time. They want to do it now, fuck it. And you know what, some of them work and some of them don't. And then you can do the whole shebang. You can like have a high school sweetheart, live with them, marry them, have kids with them, and then 20 years time one of you cheat, or you just you grow away from each other. And that's the situation where I tell people that some people are only meant to be in your life so long. There is no forever unless you want it to be, and you and that person's meant to be forever. It's just like all of us that are in this room. You haven't known me for 40 years. You haven't even known me for 4 years. You see what I'm saying? Or you might know me for that long. And some of you we don't really know each other and spend time with each other physically, but we know each other from being online and talking to each other for a couple, for a good bit now, right? But you can get to know somebody in a year and like really feel like you know that person so well that you won't have a problem with them. So it depends. Everything depends on how you like, how you deal with it. It's that simple. But if somebody leaves my life, I look at it as a blessing. If you leave on your own accord too, I'll be even happier. If I have to kick you out of my life, you know, it's like, fuck, man, why do I have to keep doing this shit? Like, those people are fucking whack. But you know what? The more people that I eliminated out of my life, the better my life got. So less means more sometimes. Less people means more sanity and more happiness and more everything because you don't have to deal with multiple fucking idiots at one time. Yeah, exactly. But you know what, Tanya? It was all worth it. And he was meant to be in your life for 10 years. And then you got his last 10 years, which I'm sure he's very happy to have you for the last 10 years of his life. And it's just, sometimes it's just the way it is. You can't really like do anything about it. You just have to like take your time and then things will happen. Well, that's another thing, it's people, like I said, people are going to be in your life no matter who they are for a certain amount of time or forever or just for a couple years. And then people come and go. Sometimes you be like, oh yeah, we got like it's like me. I've reunited with a lot of my older friends that I used to hang out with years ago. I've been cool with them now again. So it's weird, like it's like I've known some of these people for years and then I don't speak to them for years or even see them for years and all of a sudden, we're cool again. And that's cool too. Like people coming in and out of your life as long as they're not bad people. Which none of them that I've been talking to are bad. I'm still cool with everybody. So, if not everybody, but obviously people that, I was cool with 10 years ago, I'm still cool with now. And when I see them, that's like when I went out a couple weeks ago that time to that DJ concert thing. Man, I saw at least 50 to 60 people that I haven't seen in years and they haven't seen me. And, we all dabbed each other up, hugged each other, talked to each other. It was like a really good union, a really good reunion for me to see all my friends and have us all talk shit and have fun. But Lord knows when I'll go out again and see them, but I don't really care. It's just seeing them for that hour or two that I was there, that was cool. But I don't need to see people every day. I don't really like people around me all the time because they're gonna fucking start aggravating me. Because people can be like okay to be around for just a couple hours, and then after that, he's like, all right, I'm sick and tired of listening to you. Yeah. I'm just not. I like to be talking shit for a little while and have fun, but I like my space. I don't want people all hounding me and hovering over me and being my shadow. It's bad enough I got my fucking dog around me 24/7, but she's not a pain in my ass only sometimes. She's behind me. Yeah, it was. It was, Tanya. It was fun being around everybody and stuff. But now it's just my mom always said it the best. She says, "Friends, not too close. Don't get too close to people because they're gonna screw you over. Don't do this because it's not gonna be right. Don't do that because it ain't." And I used to say, "Man, my mom, she don't know what the fuck she's talking about." But you know what? After a while, you say, "You know what? My mom was right." She says, "My friends are like my teeth, and that's when they don't hurt." And I'm like, "You're fucking right too." And she always told me, "Oh, you have too many friends. Too much close friends is not good." And I'm like, "Okay, mom." And she was right again. Those friends weren't really friends. Well, I mean, my like true close friends, they're all busy too in my physical, world here in Bermuda. My two best friends are always busy, and so am I. But see, we've grown away from each other because we have all separate lives. You know, one of my best friends is married and separated and not willing to get a divorce, and my other friend, he's not married and he has a kid, and his kid is like his world to him, and everything's changed for us. We're not single any, well, I am, but they're not single anymore and coming over here and smoking weed and drinking and watching football and shit and all that type of stuff. Those days are over. Everybody's life, gets different. So now my life is also different too. So I'm on here all the time talking to you guys, you know. And then I have my mom, my dad, my sister, my nephews, my dog. I have you guys. That's good enough. I don't need like people coming over into my house every day. I don't want that. It used to be every day guys was up here and we would all be smoking weed and drinking and carrying on and watching football and shit. My friends are always up here, but not anymore. It just faded out. And I'm glad because I'm like, good. Now I got my peace and quiet. I love my life now with hardly any friends and shit like that. It's good. Less I gotta worry about. Well, that's just it. That shows who your real friends are. Yeah. And the reason they probably did that was because, they really weren't real true friends, or they just moved on, or they just a lot of people can't take death in a good way. Like, they can't like they probably think, oh, I don't want to like intrude on Tanya because she's probably mourning the death of her husband, and they might just not want to get involved, or they don't want to see you sad. Or a lot of people don't like to put up with like widows and people who go through death. They think that they don't want to see the person like you know um mourn or cry, or like it looks like they become like a burden to them. I'm just like, that's how like I think people are sometimes. They're just fucking weird like that. Well, maybe it was for a good reason, Tanya, because those people probably weren't as genuine as you really thought. And if they didn't do that for you, then they probably, you know, obviously have issues. But at the end of the day, you know, um, maybe Phil was protecting you from them. That's how you got to look at it. Maybe Phil protected you from them because he knew they weren't really true, decent friends. And maybe they were jealous of your relationship with Phil. Maybe they were jealous of you. That always comes into play with a lot of situations, you know what I mean? And some people were like, nah, and I can't believe they'll be jealous of me. And let me tell you, jealousy is a hidden emotion from a lot of people. I think people are like too gullible to think that that's not the case, but it very much is. So and then you have to ask yourself, well, do I have more than these people? Do they have more than me? Or are they jealous of my life, or are they, well, what is it like? And you don't even have to really figure it out. Maybe spirit just didn't want those people around you. They knew that they were probably toxic, or didn't. You did call them a bunch of drunks. So there you go. And at the end of the day, the good thing is you met us, and we're here for you. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. When my friend passed away on here, Sue, you know, when Sue passed away, everybody loved her in here, and nobody knew about her cancer, and nobody knew she was dying. Just me. And her and I were really close, and she said, Mark, please don't tell nobody, but I'm dying from cancer and I don't have much time to live. And I was like, I knew she weren't joking, obviously. And, I knew like her whole family. I kind of met her whole family online and through video chats, and read for all of them. And she told me before she passed away that she can't even stand some of her family because they didn't really give a shit about her like that. And they wasn't there to support her. And I remember one time, you know, she said to me, like, when I'm gone one day, those people are probably not even gonna say anything to you, or like come to you because they know how I feel about them. And I'm like, well, we'll see. Like, I was like, don't worry about them. Just do your thing. And I said, when you do pass away, just remember that your ancestors and your grandparents and all those people that you asked me to tap into when you were alive, they're all gonna be there waiting for you. And that's exactly what happened. And it's sad that the people, her family treated her that way. And I still speak to her sister, and her younger sister, and I speak to like one of her aunts or whatever, or one of her other sisters, I think it is. I speak to like a few of them. They come to me every now and then. But she called it. And it's sad that people don't even care about you when you're about to die. So, and I always tell people like that, people know who she was because she was in here every day. And when she died, it was devastating. I had to come on here and tell everybody about it, and it was hard for me to tell everybody that our dear friend that comes in here every day is gone. And then I had to apologize to everybody and say, look, I had to lie to you guys and tell you that nothing was wrong with her because I wanted to, respect her wishes, that she didn't want nobody to know she was sick. And anyway, you know, but I know she's always in here watching, and she's in here having fun, and I still use her cards too, and her things that she gives me. But at the end of the day, like I always say to everybody, people are always going to be people. We're going to have good times, bad times. People are going to be in and out of your life. People are going to come back and like wish that they were in your life, or what happened to Marley yesterday with her ex. These things happen. Like, it's just a regular part of life. Your life can be all peaceful and all that, and then these people try to come back because they know that you succeeded without them, and it bothers them. See, they want to say what everybody else says. Oh yeah, my ex is suffering. See, I told you that's why I got a divorce. That's why I left that fucking dumb bitch. They want to they want to dwell on their negative shit. Now, if their life was good, then they wouldn't even come around you or even look at you, because their life is so great. They're great without you. But if they're not, they're gonna come back to try and haunt you, or to to make life annoying. But we all have to be very strong when it comes to dealing with people's bullshit. And I've learned that throughout my years of living, especially the last 5, 10 years. I had to deal with a lot of fucking weirdos in my life. So, and I just deal with them and I just move on. But I'm actually, I'm proud of myself for sticking to what I believe in, and being a different person, and dealing with my sensitivity, my emotions, my feelings. I know how to control all of that now, you know? And then when I do get tested and I do get out of control for a couple seconds, I catch myself and I'm like, Mark, what are you doing? Remember, you're not supposed to give these people your energy, but sometimes you if you do it for a minute or two, it's kind of worth it because you get a little bit of that frustration out of you, and then you go back to being normal. So sometimes you just can't help but when you get tested, you say you have to express yourself, because we're human beings. We have emotions and expressions and things like that. It's a part of fucking life. Hey Joey, how you doing, my brownie twin? Yeah, I'm having a good weekend. All's good. Yeah, I agree, Tanya. It's good to help people. You don't have to help anybody, but it's in your nature. It's in your you know, it's inside of you to help people, and that's great. It's good to help people, but you have to make sure you help the right people at the right time, because sometimes just helping people, you could be helping someone who don't even give a shit about you, and sometimes when we help the wrong people, we kind of get discouraged, because you say to yourself, fuck, all I want to do is help this person, and they disrespected me, or they did this, or they're just idiots and they talk shit about me, or blah blah blah. And it's hard to extinguish who you need to help and who not to help. But if you feel deep down inside that you just want to help a random person or help somebody in need or whatever, then hey, go for it. And if you feel like you don't want to help them, then don't. It's that simple. Well, that's the thing. With her, you know that it's a losing battle right now. And at the end of the day, Tanya, that's the age that she is the age where they think that they know it all and no one can tell them nothing. It's the rebellious stages. When I was that age, I didn't speak to my dad that much because I left him because of him. I left him because he was too strict, and we argued all the time. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy, man. I'm not gonna let this guy ruin my life. I wanted to be I was really good at DJing. I was one of the best at the time, and I wanted to further my DJ life. I was in the army. I was an apprentice mechanic. My life was at the top of top when I was 19, going 20, and my dad tried to ruin that by having me as his prisoner at home. Oh, you gotta be home before 12 o'clock. You gotta be home. What are you doing? Where are you going? You gotta do this. You gotta go to church. I'm like, man, you can go fuck yourself now, man. I'm 19 years old. I ain't gotta listen to you no more, you fucking idiot. I couldn't stand my dad when I was 19. I wanted to knock him the fuck out a few times, but thank God I didn't. Because that's not the life I wanted to live. So I left, and and now we're cool. We're fine now, but I didn't speak to him for 2 or 3 years. I despised him because I felt like he tried to ruin my life, you know, and didn't want me to like live my life. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, he's a weirdo. And then when we started to get cool again, like when we were okay again, we started to like, come to terms with each other. And I remember like when I went to him in 2007 in September. It was like a week before his birthday, and I said, "Look, I'm gonna go on my own. I can't take it anymore. I can't work for somebody else for the rest of my life. I'm gonna go buy a van. My sister's gonna help me get some work, and you guys can like put the good word in for me, and that's all I wanted." The first thing he says, "No way, they're making a big mistake." And my mom's like, "Oh, I don't know about that. You should have a steady paycheck and this and that." And I'm like, you guys just never get it, do you? You know? How the fuck am I supposed to like you guys if you don't, encourage me or like give me like your blessing to like at least try to be something better every time I come to you. So, I say, you know what, fuck this. I'm not speaking to them. I'm gonna go ahead and start my business. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm gonna prove to them, just to them. I don't have to prove nothing to nobody else, and I didn't even have to prove anything to them. But when I started proving myself to them, they were quiet. They didn't say one word. They never said, "We heard good things about you. Congratulations, you're on your own. Congratulations, you got your business." Nothing. They always were like negative Nancy's, and I'm like, I can't stand you fucking people. Like, who are you? Like, what type of parents are you? I took that very hard from them. And even my youngest sister was like, I can't believe they're like that. Like they're weird. Like, but my sister, my older sister, she's a school teacher with a master's and bachelor's degree. So you praise her. Oh yeah, my daughter's a teacher. Yes, she's the best in the world. But my son, that works hard and wants his own business, we're not gonna encourage him. Fuck him. It's like I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? But they're getting their I wouldn't say it's karma, but they're getting their like they look like idiots right now because look who they need the most now. Me. Look who deals with them the most. Me. And because I went on my own, I can help you now more. So now look. See? So I got the last laugh, even though I didn't care what they said anyway, to a certain point, you know? Yeah, exactly, Joe. That's it happens to a lot of us, it happens. And I never wanted to like, I never wanted to walk away from my family 100% because at the end of the day, it's not like they did anything extremely bad to me. It's just that they never gave me like the confidence or the just the like the acknowledgement of I'm trying to better my life and we're happy for you. Like they never gave me that. They never gave a fuck about like how I felt when they said, "Oh, don't do this and don't." Everything was no, no, no. And I'm like, so when my sister came to you and said she's going to college to get a master's and bachelor's to be a teacher, you told her, "Yeah, go ahead. We're gonna pay for it and we're gonna support you." But me, it's different. Like you don't make no fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? To hell with you all. I'm gonna prove you all wrong. And then just like I tell my youngest sister, I don't need their consent and their blessing anymore because I believe in myself. And whoever believes in me, you believe in a person that has actually done something with his life and come a long way. And if you want the motivation, sure, I'll give it to you. And I have no problem in like telling people like go for it. I'm never gonna come on here and say, "Oh no, you're making a bad mistake." Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do this. When people say I want to go on my own or I want to be a psychic, like, yeah, sure, sure, yeah, go for it. I'll support you. I'll be the first person to say go for it because I know what it's like to be like challenged by people and like downgraded because they think that you're not good enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's all that matters, Tanya. As long as you're there, one day if they come back, if not, it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's just you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And Joey, I never wished my bad on my parents either, and I didn't really care what they were, what they said about me or what they, how they treated me and all that stuff. And I don't really give a shit about what they think. And that's why I never told them that I do this. And if I never tell them a lot of things because every time I tell them about something positive in my life, they change it into a negative. And some people used to tell me that maybe they're jealous, and I'm like, I have a hard time even registering the thought that my dad is jealous of me or my mom is jealous of me. Jealous of what? How could you be jealous of your own child? So I close those things out of my mind, even if someone says that that might be the case, because I never think about those type of negative things. I'm not a negative thinker, so I just think that my parents are just stuck in those ways where they're not the type of like, yeah, go for it, buddy. They're like, oh, well, it's hard to do that. Well, how the fuck you never been on your own, so how do you know if it's hard to do? You see what I mean? Hey, Chloe, how you doing? So, and that's the thing, like, it's just it's just annoying to know that you have parents that are like that. But now, what's funny is like yesterday when I took my dad to the yesterday when I took my dad to the doctor's office. I picked him up, took him to the doctor's office, met up with my sister, took my mom to town, took my dad back home, helped him, on his walker to go to and from the house and to and from the doctor's office. Both of them, when I said, "All right, guys, I'm leaving. You're good to go. You don't need anything?" "No, we're good." Both of them said, "Thank you very much." And they said it twice. And they never say that shit that much. They never say thank you. My mom does, but my dad, he barely says thank you because he feels like, oh, you're my kids and you're obligated to do whatever, and I don't have to thank you. Like if anything, you should be thanking me. You know, that's how his mentality is. And my dad's never been like the type of person to show his emotions and like really be all like sentimental and nice, and all that type of shit. He ain't that type of person. He's quiet. Like he don't really say thank you very much. He doesn't know those words. He doesn't say I love you and all that shit. He don't do none of that bullshit. He don't do none of that. He don't like that shit. But see, when my nephews were born, when the first one was born 23 years ago, I used to hold my nephew and say, I love you, And when they used to know what I love you meant, I would say, I love you. They said, I love you too, Uncle Mark. Bye, see you later. And I used to give them a hug and kiss. When you see little kids, you're like, they're so innocent and you just want to tell them you love them, right? And I don't remember my parents doing that to me, right? Because those words were hardly ever said, they weren't said at all. And it's funny, like, because when I started saying it to the kids, I would say, "I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you guys. Oh, I love you too." And they used to say, "I love you too, Uncle Mark," and they still say it till today. Like I always tell my nephews, "I love you, bro. I'll see you next time. I love you too, Uncle Mark." And then my mom started saying, "I love you" to them, but not to us. but she'll say it to them, to our grandkids. She goes, "Oh, Granny loves you. I love you too, Granny." And I'm saying to and I used to say to my younger sister, I'll be like, "This is some fucking bullshit." And we had to train them to say "I love you," and they had to see us say to our nephews and our kid and your kids, like they had to see their kids say to their kids, "I love you." You know what I'm saying? So it's like we kind of like, but my dad still don't say it, but my mom, she'll say it a lot more now. But my parents will ever since I've been helping my parents a lot in the past few years, my mom and dad will say thank you now, whereas before they would never say it. Or if my mom says, you don't say thank you to Mark for cutting the grass or for helping you do this, he goes, "Oh, I shouldn't have to say thank you. These are my son. That he's my son. So fucking what? Why you can't just be decent and just say thank you, you fucking idiot?" Say my dad, he's a stubborn jackass. But I love my dad. I know he loves me, and I know he appreciates me, but he just has like a hard way of showing it, and it doesn't bother me as much as it used to bother me before. But yesterday when he said, "Thank you very much," you know how he says it? If he won't look at me like this and say, "Hey, thank you very much." He'll be walking, he'll be like, "Yeah, thank you very much," and go right to the bathroom. He'll walk across and say, "Yeah, thank you very much," but he won't go, "Hey, Mark, hey, thank you very much." But my mom will look me in my eye and say, "Thank you, Mark. I appreciate what you done for us." And I don't even say like, I don't need them to say thank you, but my dad, he says it in like the most annoying way, as if to say, "I'm not gonna look you in your eye and tell you thank you, but I'm gonna walk across you and say thank you and under my breath, and then just hopefully you hear it." I just laugh at it now because it's so weird, but and then like going back to what you guys say, how like how you guys say like this person had a bad childhood, or they didn't grow up in a house where they heard that shit too, but that's no excuse for it though, because I never heard it in my home, but I say it to my nephews. So who the fuck, somebody taught me how to say "I love you" to someone? Like that's just a natural instinct for you to say those words, especially to a child, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't like, it's just, to me it's just a stupid mentality that people have. It's an excuse not to like be different or to come out of your comfort zone, you know like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, thank God I have a brain, man, I'm telling you, and I have common sense, because like I could never live with myself not telling my nephews I love them because my parents didn't tell me that shit, man. Come out of that fucking shit. I ain't listening to that, man. When I heard my mom say "I love you" to her grandchildren, I used to laugh like crazy, and we used to tease the shit out of her after. I used to say, "Oh, I love you." Now you want to say "I love you," but you never told me that shit. And my sister would hit me, say, "Shut up! Don't say that to her. She's gonna get mad." And I'm like, "I don't care. That's fucked up. You have to wait till I tell my nephews I love them to say you love them too, but you won't tell me you fucking love me." So I used to tease. Now I tease my mom about that shit. Yeah. When we walked into his, I'm just catching up with what you said, Joey. Hold on a second. When I walked into his place with my older sister, we talked about meeting in the middle. If he couldn't do it, I wouldn't come back. We need to listen to and communicate a bit better. Limited interaction. My mom is still alive and has. That sucks. Sorry about your mom, Joey. Yeah, you don't need to be a product of your environment. Hell no. Welcome back, Dan. And that's the thing. Like that's pretty old. My granny died at 94, and she knew everything. She still knew everybody. But yeah, dementia is a sad thing. I would never want that because that's like pretty hard. Um, but it's like I don't know. I just can't be that way. You know, I love my nephews so much because I don't have children, especially like the two youngest ones that I live next to. And we tell each other we love each other all the time. Love you, bro. Yeah, I love you too, bro. Yeah, cool. We give each other hugs and stuff. Do all this shit for each other, all that stuff. But like I can't believe that I had to actually say it in front of my family in order for them to like say it too. And I've never heard my older sister tell her kids that I love you and this and that. And my brother, he don't say that shit to his sons either. But I say it to all of them. I say, I love you guys, man. See you next time. And then like that, it's just like how they say things are hereditary. I think that it's hereditary too with your you and your kids' emotions and how they express themselves to a certain extent, obviously. But for me, it's not a problem for me to tell my nephews I love them, and I'm gonna continue to do that. And yeah, I don't care if my parents never did it to me. I'm different. I tell you guys every night I love you, and I'll see you next time. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with saying those words, especially if you mean it. And like to for a kid to hear it, it's even more of a blessing for a child to hear those words. You know what I'm saying? Hey Marty, do you tell Emmy engaged that you love him every night or every day? Do they say I love you too, mom? I'm putting Marley on the spot. See, every day. Did your mom and dad tell you that they loved you every day? See, they probably got tired of you saying it. See, yeah. But did your because your mom's like 60 something, right? So yeah, they didn't tell you every day, right? But they see that's that generation. That generation, I don't know anybody from that generation that said it every day or every time. I don't know anybody from that generation. So I think that was like a generation thing. But it's so weird though. I don't understand that. Why is that like so hard to do? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Oh shit. I agree, Joey, 100%. I agree with that because I live by that every day, Joey. I don't need to carry out my parents' trauma. Fuck that. I want to be different. And that's why my parents probably, they're not, I don't believe my parents are jealous of me. I just think that they think that I'm fucking like different. They just think this guy's nothing like me. My mom says it sometimes in Portuguese. She says, I don't know who you take after, but it ain't us. And I said, I don't want to take after you because you guys are like, on dumb mood. Like you guys act like, you act like you can't do shit, or you act like, the world is against you, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. You don't want to do shit because you don't want to. You don't want to make your life better because you don't want to. I've shown you in clear living color that if I can do it, you can do it. So what the fuck is your problem? Oh, I'm too old, or I'm too this. No, no, no. It's you in here. Because I tell my parents, you guys are religious and you preach about Jesus and you're Catholics and all this shit. But if that's the case, if you believe so much in God and religion, then why are you always worried about bullshit all the time? Because a person who believes in Jesus don't worry like you people do and don't have issues like you. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, okay, whatever, whatever. I don't want to listen to it no more. Now I just don't pay attention to them. I don't really care what they say. I just take care of them, do my part for them. I love my parents, and I know they love me deep down inside, and I know they appreciate everything I do for them. I know all the good things, but it's just their negative mindset annoys me because I'm not like that. I've never been like a negative person, you know? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be negative. Like that's fucking annoying. Being negative makes me sick. I can't be negative. It doesn't match me. I want to laugh all day and talk shit and watch videos of Hogo, and TikToks and make me laugh and shit. I don't want no negative shit. That's why I don't watch the news. Marley says my mom kisses me on the cheek and tells me she loves me now, and it almost is weird because I'm not used to it. You see, that's what I mean. Like, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, see, Miss Bikini said, Tanya said the same thing. Oh, it's all good, Tanya. We love you. That's all that matters. Phil loves you. That shit happened into our late teens and 20s mark with my parents. Yeah, see, my parents wanted to control me, and I would stand up to them. Yeah, so did I, Joey. I stood up to my parents a lot, and that's why they kind of like were always mad at me. I tried to teach them like you need to take a chill, man. Like I'm fucking 17, 18, 19 years old. Like you still want to control my life? Like fuck off, man. Like I'm not like a drug addict or anything. Leave me alone. Couldn't bring girls to the house. Couldn't bring nobody around. I mean, that's fucking bullshit. Once I left that house at 19, I was a free man, and I changed my whole life for the better. And then when I say that to them, they get so pissed at me. Well, at least he told you he was proud of you before you got off the phone. Yeah. I know, Tanya, but it's good to talk about it and get it out there. It's a tough subject for me too because I still have a hard time understanding what goes through my parents' minds. Like you still like are negative till today. You're negative every fucking day, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, and I told my parents one Sunday, I said, "You guys complain about your life, but your life is way better than other people." "Oh, but what do you mean?" I said, "What do I mean?" I said, "You have a house that you live in that's paid for. You paid for this house already years ago. You don't have a mortgage. You're 81 and 79. You don't have a mortgage. You know what a blessing that is? Do you know how many people your age don't even have a fucking house? Do you know how many people that are in a hospital right now? You went to the hospital for a week. Suppose you had to live there for like months or a year. You could be like losing limbs and shit. You could be deaf. You could be blind. You can have cancer. You don't have nothing, no major medical fucking problems. Yes, you have some issues, but it's not death defying. Like what the fuck you want? You want those problems? You guys to make me you irritate me. Like you talk like you're dying and the world's coming to an end. And I tried to tell them like, there's so much more worse shit going on that can happen to you. And look at all your kids. All of us are healthy. All of us don't have no disease. Yes, you have two kids that are divorced and one that ain't been married and one that is married. It's life, you know? Like that's little shit. That's petty shit. You know what I'm saying? All your grandchildren are good. They're not fucked up. They're not drug addicts. They're not in jail. Like think about things like that for a minute, and just say to yourself, you know what, Mark is right. I do have a good life. You got food on your table. You got money in your bank. What the fuck more you want? Well, what is happiness to you? If happiness to you is winning the lottery and going to a strip club and buying hers all your life and getting STDs, then that's not a good life either. Is that a good life to you? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, what is your definition of a good life? So that's why I say shit like this to people. Like a lot of people complain that they're single and they don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or or they have a shitty job, or they have like they live in a shitty place. And I'm saying to myself, well, then get a better fucking situation. What are you gonna do? You're comfortable with being shit. You're comfortable with complaining to me every day. Change your goddamn life, and then you'll be happy. If I can do it, you can do it. That's what I tell people. Like, you're not supposed to be complaining every fucking day. Like, make your life better. Take care of yourself, and then you'll be fine. Well, I can understand that, Dan. They probably didn't want to put you through that trauma of seeing them pass away. Some of them don't want, some parents are like that, but well, Tanya, that's why you should have nothing on your conscience. And I've told you this like numerous times is, you know, I know I'm not a parent and I don't have kids. And I know you have your daughter. And I know that's your only daughter, and that's like I'm sure it hurts as much as you say it does. Yes, I believe that because I know I would be too. If I was in your predicament, I would be hurt too. But as long as you can look yourself in the mirror every day and say, I gave my child everything I had and it wasn't good enough. So whose problem is it? It's their problem. They got to live with that, not you. You see what I'm saying? If you have nothing on your conscience and you feel like you ain't done nothing wrong and you can live with yourself when it's concerning her, and that's all that should matter to you. And that's all that should matter to anybody who's in those predicaments, whether it's mother, father, daughter, sister, brother, cousins, whatever, co-workers, even somebody you know in here. It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, you gotta like be content with your conscience. So if you know you ain't done nothing wrong, then why the fuck should you be like, worried about what that person thinks? Yeah. And that's all that should matter. And that's why I feel like throughout my life, and especially now, when I deal with my parents, there's some days where I want to rub it in their face and say, you know what? I did actually, when the physiotherapist went there, on Wednesday, I think, yeah, Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember. I think it was Wednesday. The physiotherapist went there and she says, oh, you have a good son. And he says, yeah, yeah. He went like that, yeah, yeah. And I said, he wouldn't have said that 30 years ago. And she started laughing. And I say, yeah, 30 years ago, he didn't think I was a good son. We were going at each other. And for his stupidity, he ran at me for nothing. Because I wasn't even doing anything illegal, or I wasn't disrespecting him or nothing. He just wanted to control my life at the age of 17, 18. And I'm like, yo, bro, you need to take a chill, like, like relax, bro. Life is different. Like, you can't hold me hostage here forever. Like, I have a life. So, and that's why I left. When I was 19, I left. And all of us left because we all felt like prisoners in that house. But you know what? I thank my parents for the life they gave me. And I always tell them that. I say, you put me in a good school even though I left. You gave me clothes and food, you gave me a place to live, and you still like, will open your doors to me if I needed it. And great, because and I could be a fucked up person and say, you don't care about me, you never fucking did this, you never did that, and then fuck all of you, I'm not taking care of you, you can rot in hell. I could have been a dickhead and just been like disown them and I wouldn't be taking care of them right now. But for what? Because of their like stupidity and negligence of saying I love you, or like their negative minds. And then they're gonna say, my sister always has a bad habit of defending people when it comes to like your past and how you're brought up and how your parents were brought up. So it's like it's like I said, oh, that shit is not hereditary. You don't like you people. A lot of parents and their children can be very different from each other, very much different, and some could be very much alike. You know. And I try to tell my sister, look at me. I'm a prime example of I'm way different than mom and dad. Yes, I have some same qualities as them, yes, but I'm very much different. I'm different from all my siblings too. And all of us are different too. And it's good to be different. So that way everybody has a different role in life and does different shit. If we were all the same, it would be fucking boring. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But somebody has to do it, somebody has to do that job. Somebody has to like, do those things. My parents tell me more now about their past than they've ever told me before. It's almost like, they know that they're on their way out at some point in time. So they're starting to tell us everything that happened to them. And my mom and dad told me a story on yesterday in the car that I would have never known unless they would have told me. And I still haven't even told my sister the story because I haven't really had a chance to talk to her about it. But my dad told me a story, and then my mom followed up on it when her and I were in the car. She goes, "I've never told any of you this, but I'm going to tell you." And I'm like, "Oh boy, I don't really want to know certain things, like But when she told me something, it wasn't like nothing. It was something bad, but it was like I would have never thought that this person would do that shit to my parents. So when I found out, I was like, yeah, good thing they're fucking dead. Good thing they're gone, because if they were alive, I would have a few choice words for them. But that's why they told me, because they knew the person's gone. Because they're like, yeah, Mark, I'm gonna go attack him after I tell him this shit, because they're gone anyway. Yeah, I can hear the rain coming down again. Yeah, I agree. Being a police officer nowadays is even worse, because people don't respect police officers. They automatically think a police officer is negative, and some of them have power trips. So a lot of police officer stuff is tarnished from the bad ones and the good ones. I know bad cops and I know good cops, but I'm never gonna like really like cops anyway. But because of the way majority of them are control freaks, and a lot of them just want trouble, where they just look for like trouble and shit. But there is some good ones, yes, of course. I know a few. Exactly. Yeah. He may be looking for your kidnapped kid, or he might be saving your life. Yeah. I always say like there's good and bad in everything. It's just like how many bad psychics there is on here. And liars and fucking idiots you see on here scamming people every damn day. Same thing with cops. It's good and bad. Same thing with everything. It's good and bad people every day. Yeah, exactly. It was just like when I went to the army. When I went to the army, all the like lance corporals, because they had that one stripe on their arm, they thought that they can tell me what to do. I was like, get your bitch ass out of here. Then what you say? Yeah, you heard me. They said, well, if you do anything to me, remember your ass is mine when you leave here, because you got to go back into public. And when I said that to one of them, they thought about it. And then when those other guys heard me, they're like, you know what, Mark, you're right. They may earn us for the weekend in here, but we earn them for the rest of their lives when they're outside. And I was like, yeah, you better believe it. Don't be talking no dumb shit to me. Don't be using your power card and your power trip on me in here. Because when we see you in a nightclub somewhere, we're going to fucking beat the shit out of you. And I said that to one of those guys. I whispered it to him when he was all shouting in my face and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you keep talking like that, bro. We live in Bermuda, you know. We're going to see each other again. So people who like take control out of contacts and out and have a power trip, they need to be reminded that you're doing the wrong thing. You know you are, so stop. There's no need for that. But the good ones, God bless them. Exactly. I agree, Joe. Yeah, that's always the case. Like I've said for years, there's good and bad in everyone and everything. You know, a lot of people are stereotyped through their race, color, where they live, what their religion is, what they do for a living. I don't care about none of those things. I just care about you as a person and how you treat me. As long as you treat me good, I'm gonna treat you good back. You want to have a power trip or treat me like some fucking weirdo, or you want to treat me rough, then I'm gonna treat you the same way you treat me. It's that simple. And that's the way people should be dealing with people anyway. That's how you should deal with life. You treat me good, I treat you good. That's all. And it's funny. I've been out of the army since I was 21. So I've been out of the army for 20 something years, and I still see some of my sergeants, some of my lieutenants, and some of my corporals and all that. I never wanted a stripe, even though they tried to like get me, calm me into it. But I was like, no, no, I don't want no stripes. I'm gonna stay a private from the time I come here to the time I leave. I ain't giving you people no extra nothing. I don't need no stripes. I'm already got stripes. I'm good. And then when I see them now, when I have seen them throughout the years, they don't say nothing because they know I didn't like them anyway. And the only ones I'm really cool with are the ones that were cool in their rank. So that's the good thing. And I knew a lieutenant very well because he was my cousin. And he told me if I get in any trouble to call him, which I never had to do really because when I got in trouble, I was in there for 3 years. From I was in there when I was 18. I got it was mandatory to go into the army here in Bermuda in my time. So when I was 18, I had to go to the army right away. As soon as I got my status and officially like Bermuda papers when I was 18, and you become an official citizen and shit like that when you're 18, they gave me my army papers, and I took a physical doctor's test, and the doctor told me you're perfectly fine. And I was like, please, doctor, don't let me go to this fucking army, man. I don't want to be here, please. And he's like, no, it'll be great for you. And I'm like, fucking bastard. And he's like, yeah, you're good to go. my brother didn't go to the army because he had asthma, and they didn't want to risk like having people with problems. So I was the only one of my family that went to the army, and I was there for 3 years, and it was a pain in the ass. I hated it. I hated every single moment of it. The best year was the last year. Yeah, it was mandatory. We had to go. Now it's not. It hasn't been mandatory for like maybe 15 years. It hasn't been mandatory. They stopped it because people were complaining too much. And see, even if you went to college, when you came back at like 21, you have to go to the army. So even if you try to ditch the army, they would still try and get you to go there. You have to. And if you didn't go, they would lock you up because it was mandatory. It was a law. So in my time, I got screwed to going into the army because I never wanted to go there. But one thing I would say, it didn't make me a better man. I was already a man. So I already have respect and honor and all that. The only good thing about Army was I met so much cool people. I never met so much different people in my life. And I still speak to everybody that I was. My platoon had probably 51 people, I think. It was 51 or 52 people in my platoon. And in my barrack, it was like maybe 20 of us in the room. And I knew half the guys that were in there already. And then, um, I made a lot of good friends. One of my best friends in the army was a Muslim guy, and he was there against his will, and he didn't like it, and I had to like I kind of calmed him down and kind of told him like look, bro, I know you don't want to be here and you had to cut your hair and all that bullshit and it's just we have to go through this life. This is what we have to go through. And then him and I ended up starting drinking and smoking together. And we ended up playing like we were like the card sharks. I was always good with cards, right? And, like I playing cards. We used to play like euchre and rummy and spades and all sorts of fucking cards. We used to win games together. I haven't seen him in years because he moved. He went to Florida to live, but he was one of my best friends in the army, and we like kind of encouraged each other. And we were totally different people. We had different religions. He was black, and and he was different from everything was different. We were like totally different people, but we got along really well in the army because we were like uh in the same platoon, in the same barrack room. We saw each other every day, and we just clicked. We had so much fun. And if I saw him today, I'd give him a huge hug, and then we would talk it out. We would talk about our great times. Yeah, I started shaving when I was like probably 17, going 18. Yeah. I don't really shave much anymore. I just like shave probably once a week, and it grows back like plants. Did male and females have to go? No, just males. But females, there was one female, no, sorry, two females there when I was there that volunteered. And one of the women was one of the woman that was there when I was there in my second year. She was my sergeant in the military transport department. Like she was telling me what to do, which I didn't really like, but she was cool. She was kind of a bitch, but she was cool with me though. Even when army was finished, she like came to me and spoke to me and stuff and asked me how I was. She was cool. And then the other woman that was in the office, she was getting fucked by somebody else, and she was like a hoe, and she ended up like ruining somebody's marriage or some shit like that. She was some nasty bitch. I can't remember what happened, but the last year I was there, she was having an affair with somebody up there, and then they end up getting kicked out. But the girl I dealt with, she was my sergeant, and because I was my first year, I was like, yeah, Sergeant Hoga. So my first year in Army was the worst year because I was out in the field. I was having weekend camps. I had to deal with, the rifle and the guns and all that bullshit. I was like sleeping in a fucking tent in bushes and all that bullshit. I didn't really like my first year. Hey, Joao, how you doing? And then my second year, because I was a car mechanic, I was a car mechanic, bike mechanic apprentice at the time. So because I knew how to deal with mechanics, the sergeant that was in charge of the military transport department, he said, "What license do you have?" And I said, "I have a car license, a bike license, and a truck license." And he goes, "You're coming with me. I'm going to talk to Lieutenant so and so, and I'm going to enroll you into my department because they want to put you in the A company, which is bullshit out in the field shooting guns and then you go away and all that. I didn't want to do all that. I never wanted to deal with guns and all that bullshit and like go and have a rucksack and run all around like a jackass and do stupid ass shit. I don't really want to do all that stuff. So he says, I need you because you're a mechanic and you know about cars, and not too many guys here are like have truck license and all that. So I end up going my second and third year. I was in the military transport department, and I passed all the driver's tests, and then because I passed all the tests, and I had all those licenses at the time, because I was like 20 years old when I was in my second year. So I was like one of the few guys who had all the licenses and passed all the tests. So then I got promoted to driving the colonel to parades and driving him to his appointments. I would have to like clean. I had a Nissan. He had a Nissan Sentra, and it was a nice car at the time, right? Even the police had him at the time, and he had like a champagne color Nissan Sentra. I'll never forget it. And I had to like clean it inside out. My job was to like wash the outside, clean the inside, make sure the tires and the windows were spotless. I had to put like the army flag on there, the Bermuda flag on the other thing, and I made sure the car had gas, oil, and it wasn't gonna break down with him in it. So then I would go pick him up. I would have to like, yes sir, how you doing, sir? All that shit. He'd be like, yes, private, blah blah blah. He'd be like, okay, you're gonna take me to Hamilton today, to the city. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna drive up, you're gonna pull up to the police, blah 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 blah, all that type of bullshit. So I had two colonels when I was there, and I drove them both. One retired, and the new one was like an asshole. The first one, he was cool. Yeah, Joey, I talk to him all the time. Yeah, that and I know that, Dan. Yeah, I used to work on both of them. Yeah, I could talk to the colonel when I drove, but like he would say, "How are you? Who's your dad? Where you live? What you're doing? Like, what do you do for a living? Blah blah blah. Where you're from? What school you went?" He used to talk to me in the car, but he would tell me never look in the mirror and never keep my eyes off the road. He says, "Listen and talk. Don't look back at me. Don't look in the mirror at me." He would say all that shit. He'd be like, "Just talk. Just speak when I speak to you, and that's it." You know? Yeah. I was based here in Bermuda as well. Yeah. I've been in Bermuda my whole life. The army was here. We had like a naval base here and all that. It was earned by Brit. It's earned by the British. Yeah. I never went away with the army because they needed me here. Because they gave me that role, I had to be here. I never went away. They went to North Carolina for 2 weeks, and they went to Jamaica for 2 weeks during the year. But I never went on the trips because they needed me here to drive the Colonel because I had all the licenses, I passed all the tests. Because the other guys in my group, they didn't have all that stuff. See, they were happy to have me because I was, a good driver and I had all the licenses. So I used to drive like the trucks and the Land Cru. We had Land Cruisers, so I would drive the Land Cruisers, and then the sergeant mechanic there, he used to teach me how to work on those vehicles. He taught me how to work on diesels and gas, and we had Land Cruisers. So I used to drive the Land Cruisers. I used to tow like the cannons and the guns, and I used to tow like I used to like take. There was a big Land Cruiser that took like 10 people. So I would like, pull up on like at a place, pick up 10 guys, drive really fast, drop them off to another location because they were doing like drills and stuff. So I was very busy when I was in the army. And I was there like on weekends and shit. It was fucking annoying, man. I had to deal with so much shit, but because I was a good driver, and I passed all the driving tests and I had licenses, they would use me a lot. And I would like have to teach in my third year. I had to teach the new guys how to like tow the equipment. And then we had parades here. So on the parade day, I would have to tow the cannons from one place to the next, and I would park. I would like, show them how to drive and all that shit. I used to in my third year, I actually taught some guys how to tow a cannon and how to park it properly and all that shit. But I would say my last year was my best year in the army. So, but I had it easy in my second, and my first year was very hard and frustrating because I hated it and I didn't want to be there. But I actually loved my last year there because my last year I didn't really do that much. I just had to like clean the vehicles, maintenance them, and drive the Colonel here and there. And then I used to be like the sergeant guys, like, mechanic and stuff. And he used to teach me how to do mechanics and stuff. He used to teach me more shit. And he would like, say, "Oh, go, look, Mark, just go clean those two vehicles today because we're gonna use those to do a drill. Make sure they got fuel, oil, make sure everything's okay. Make sure, you because they had like a big canvas on the back, so we had to make sure the zipper was locked in place so when you drive it fast, like the canvas didn't blow off and all that shit. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. I actually still have dreams of the army. I have like dreams that I was still there and I was like doing this and I saw this person and saw that person. It's weird because I was there for a while, so and it was a place that I hated, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed my last year, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, the Toyota Land Cruisers were really nice, Dan. We did an exercise, we did a test, and me and two other guys passed it. What they did, they buried the Land Cruisers on the beach. We had to dig like a hole, and then we had to bury the Land Cruiser right up into the door. So the wheels were pretty much under like the sand. So when you looked at the Land Cruiser, the whole land, like the Land Cruiser was buried right up into the door so you can get in and out of the door, right? So they had three Land Cruisers there. And they said you have to get this Land Cruiser out of this sand and get it out and drive out of this it being buried. The first person to unbury him wins. But they were all stick shift. So the first time I did it, I got like a tip from the guy. He says, "Look, you have to get you have to get the Land Cruiser in motion. So it goes like this, and you start to dig it out like that. So you make like a ramp for the wheels to come out like this, and then boom. So he says you have to like hold the clutch and like bring it out and like try and rock it so it comes out. So I was there for about a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes before I got it out of there. And I got it out. And so did the other two guys. We all got it out. One guy backed out. I went forward and came out, and then almost got stuck when you like make the ramp. Like if you don't, you gotta like kind of go on like an angle. It was weird, but we did it though. Some people couldn't do it because it's hard to like balance the clutch and drive the Land Cruiser and shit. Yeah, my uncle in Portugal, he went to Angola. Like I would say probably if he was living right now, he'd probably be like 86 maybe. And he went to the army when he was 18. So I would say like 70 years ago, almost 70 years ago, that Portugal was in Angola fighting out there in the war because Angola in Africa is actually a Portuguese colony and they speak Portuguese in Angola. And my uncle, he was out there in Angola and he fought out there in the army. My auntie said he came back. He was tan color, like how I am, like olive skin, and he came back pale white. He was all fucked up. He lost all his weight. He was there for a couple years too. Yeah, but the Portuguese army was in Angola like maybe 70 years ago in Africa, in Angola and Mozambique, the old Portuguese colonies, and they all speak Portuguese out there. Cape Verde. Yeah, there was the 4x4 switch in there, yeah. But it was a lever. It wasn't like a click switch. It was a lever. You had to put it in four-wheel drive, like all that shit, yeah. Yeah. Those things were very sturdy. They were very fast. Yeah, and Timur, yeah, yeah. Timur. That was later on in life, yeah. That was 2002, yeah. I'm talking about like 70 years ago. My uncle was in the Angola War, whatever it was. They were out there in army or whatever. I don't know too much about it, but I knew he was there. I just read what you said. Joey, you said your personal trainer had a contract with the British forces and did it for 12 years, military police. Oh shit. We used to help a guy with a Dodge Powerback. Oh yeah, I've heard about the hubs in the front tire, but we had like the little gear thingy that put it into four-wheel drive. It was weird. There was a few cars who had that shit back then too. I can't remember, man. I drove so many vehicles in the army. We had it was mostly Toyota Land Cruisers. We had the Nissan Sentra. Um and Yeah, the Timur. Yeah, yeah. It ended in 2020. 2002. Yeah, yeah. You were driving an M60. You know, I'll tell you a story about the M60. In my first year, because we were using all the guns and shit, right? And we had like here we had M16s and shit like that, and all sorts of rifles and bullshit, right? We had like a mini Ruger, I think it was called. We had a mini Ruger because we didn't really need that type of shit here like that because guns are illegal here, illegal anyway. Um, but we got a demonstration for the M60. And I was like, oh yeah, I love M60 because I love Rambo, right? I love all the Sylvester Stallone Rambo movies where he picks up the M60 and he's like, "Da, da, 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 da," you know? And like when he picked it up, like everybody said, oh yeah, that's bullshit because those guns are heavy as shit. And I'm like, well, if you're like a bodybuilder and you were like built like Rambo and shit, you can pick that shit up, right? So these guys had the M60 on a tripod and they had it on like a beach area and we were all there watching it. And he said he's gonna shoot a couple rounds, right? And they had it sitting on like a flat rock and then the beach was in front and you could see like the water and the horizon. And they shot that M60 a couple times and you could see the rounds hitting miles and miles away. Like, and I'm saying like miles away. That shit shot so far, I couldn't believe it. That was the first time I was actually in awe on how far that thing actually can hit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So when I saw that, I was like, those Rambo movies were real because I remember there was a scene where Rambo had like the M60 and he was on that open back cruiser. He would like the open back Jeep and he had the M16 and he was shooting down like planes and shit and helicopters. And I'm like, I always thought that was bullshit, but that weren't no bullshit because that M60, that thing's deadly. That thing could do a lot of damage. And then they showed another example where they had a cube of 12-inch concrete blocks and the guy put like he had like a crane and he put the 12-inch cube of block in front like about maybe I don't know 50 feet ahead of him and the guy shot a couple rounds and it went through the cube of the concrete block and you could still see it hitting out in the ocean. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, fuck, this is the most deadliest gun I'm ever seen in my life, you know? And I'm like, shit, this is cool. I couldn't believe that that gun actually does, or those bullets are actually that deadly and that M60 has that much shit, you know? Like how much damage that thing can do. If you get hit by that, that's why when you saw those Rambo movies, those guys are like they were showing like the blood, like guys getting their whole fucking limbs taken apart. And that shit is true. Cause if you got hit by one of those bullets, you're fucking finished. That's taking your body parts and gone. Yeah, there you go. Oh, cool, Jay. He guarded the royal family. I think you told me that story before. How he guarded the royal family. That's pretty cool. I know, right, John? Yeah, they're still going on about that shit, man. Those idiots. But in Bermuda, we don't have that problem like wars with people and shit. We don't like, we have a regiment now. It's not even an army, it's a regiment. Like, we don't really have, like, there's not too many people in it either. Nobody really gives a shit. A Marine in the army, yeah. But here in Bermuda, the army was for protection. Like when we had like riots back in 1977 when I was born, there was riots and the army was like involved in it here to make sure people didn't act up and like loitering and all that shit, looting. I mean, breaking in shit. And then the army was also we would always there was a when there's a hurricane here, the army gets called in. It's mandatory for the army guys to get called in during a hurricane because if it's like a bad hurricane, the army guys are there to help. They go around in the we have a big ass truck and it's like it can carry like 30 guys and then they all have machetes and they all have chainsaws and they help clean up everything in Bermuda. Like they help clean it all up. So that's one reason we have an army here too, is for like hurricane purposes, like for disasters, shit, where the people get enrolled and they get called in, and you have to help. Even during COVID, the army was at all the checkpoints of COVID. They would make sure you're not on the road doing bullshit, or else they'll give you a warning, or they can lock you up. I got in trouble during COVID because I was on the road and I wasn't allowed to be on the road. But I told them, I said, look, my parents are old. I have to go get them groceries. They need their medication. The guy was like, look, I'm gonna let you off on a warning, and I'm gonna write down your license plate and your name. But when you come back, I'll let you through to go home. But don't you come back again until you're supposed to be on the road. And I'm like, look, man, I have to go deal with my parents, man. They can't go nowhere. He's like, all right, I'll cool. I'll hook you up. But it was an army guy, but they didn't know me because they're too young anyway. But the army is used here in different ways. We're not like we don't have an air force, and Bermuda's like a small ass rock, so we don't really have like a big army. The biggest the army was probably like maybe 1,000 people at one point in time. That's it, and that's not big at all. But here, that was pretty decent for that time frame, and that was like probably when I was in the army. There was like probably almost 1,000 people in there, and that was pretty decent for back then. But now they don't even have half of that because nobody gives a shit about it because it's no longer mandatory. So yeah, it was some good times. I would say I had some good times in the army, but I want to forget about the army. I really don't care about that place. I had my good time, my good 1 year there. Well, I was there for 3 years, but I had the last year was my good year, and that was it. I never really wanted to. I still dream about it every now and then, but I would never go back, and I would never want to be involved in that shit ever again. I just don't really like all that type of stuff, dressing up in camouflage, and you have to have your cap badge all nice and clean, and you have to have your clothes ironed, and then you have to have the crease in your fucking pants and all that bullshit. Your boots gotta be shiny, and it's a whole pile of stupid ass shit. Shit that I don't like. I don't like wearing uniforms and all those type of things. But one thing, when we left there and we went out on a Wednesday night, when we left army and we were like in town in like all the nightclubs in our army gear. We got a lot of respect, and we got a lot of like women was always around all we guys. Oh my god, you're in the army. Oh my god. I was like, yeah, you want that camouflage D now or what? So it was pretty fun back then. It was all right, but I would never like want it to be mandatory ever. But sometimes we say like some of these young generation people, they need that army life so they can put them in their place. But yeah, civic is. All right, guys, it's 1:40 in the morning here. I didn't even realize what time it was. I've been on here for 2 hours. I'm gonna get my ass to sleep. I should be here tomorrow night at some point in time. But yeah, I'll be here eventually. Yeah. Well, you know what we did before I go, Joey. You know how you get them really, really sparkling. Like sometimes you don't have to polish them. What you do, you polish them, and then what? One time, what I did is I sprayed clear coat spray paint on top of it, and everybody used to be like, "How the fuck your boots are so shiny?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I sprayed some clear coat paint on them." And they used to be like, "No way." I'm like, "Yeah, you just get them all nice and shiny, and because they're rubber, you got to get like this clear coat paint." And I used to spray stuff all the time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it because I had like two pairs of boots, and I polished one up one time, and then I took this clear coat spray paint and I sprayed it, and I left it out in the sun. I said, oh shit, this stuff works. But if they get scuffed up, it's like it's fucked up because it leaves like a streak on it, and you could tell like it's been sprayed. But I only sprayed like from the lacings downwards, so only the part where you can see. Because we had like a elastic like pants that went over the top of the boot, so you only showed like the foot part, and that was the part that really counted. So I used to spray like the tip of the toes where the toes were, right up to like where the lacings connect, and the back part where the heel was. So I used to spray paint the sole and the heel with the clear coat spray paint, and it used to work. But the problem is when you scuffed it, you could see it more. You could tell like it's been sprayed. But I did it though. Yeah, I had to spray it more than once. Yeah, definitely, definitely. My friend, he used to like take light sandpaper, and he used to sand it, and he actually sprayed the boots black and then put clear coat because he got tired of fucking polishing them. But then they caught on to that shit because a few people started to do it, and it looked like extra, like you could tell like it's been sprayed. So if you get caught, they're gonna tell you can't do it. But they never called me because they didn't really care about me like that. When I was in my third year, that's when I did it. Because I had like an extra pair of boots, so I just sprayed one and left the other one as my spare. So when I had to take the kernel, I would use the spray paint boots so it looks all nice. So he won't talk shit and say, you gotta polish your boots. I'm like, nah, bruh. All right, good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. And it was nice talking to you all. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend. And I'll be here tomorrow at some point in time. I might be on here later because I'm gonna watch the game. So I think the game comes on at 7 or 8 or something like that. But I'll be on here like 10 o'clock, something like that. I might come on during the day. We'll see. All right, Joey, Dan, Jerome, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow.